Tesla had gone through their fair share of controversies in the last couple of days about and weeks about the pricing. And the one today, it's coming from Germany. Now, normally, any attempt that's I see in Germany to somehow limit or push down Tesla, I take with a grain of salt. But this one is actually makes sense. I'll tell you all about it. But also, let's just get a survey going and see if anybody agrees with this. If it should be done on a global scale, what they're proposing in Germany, or it should just stay in Germany. All of this is coming up next. Taking over the world, electrifying the world, E4 Electric. Welcome to E4 Electric, your number one source of unbiased electric car news. Don't forget to click on that subscribe button so you don't miss anything moving forward and become a part of this amazing community. All right, let's talk about Germany. So here's what happened. As you know, with all the controversies about pricing that Tesla's been doing and undoing and redoing and stuff like that, one of the things that people kind of been annoyed by for a while, and it is about how they display their pricing. And this is how they display their pricing. If you look at it, your eyes obviously fall onto that and on the as you can see where it says standard range, right? The one with the blue border. And that's just how it works, and I think that's how Tesla planned it. But as you can see, the price there is really not the real price. As a matter of fact, the only way you can tell is you have that little asterisk down there, and that little asterisk actually is the explanation. Is here where it says prices above include potential incentives and gas savings. All right, now before we look at what those are, the real price is actually down here where you can't really even see how it still says after savings, before savings. So you really don't see very clearly what the price you're actually going to be paying for this car is. Now, a lot of people found this misleading for a few reasons. Now, what happened in Germany is that one of their sort of a consumer protection agencies basically said and got Tesla to commit to remove this type of presentation of their pricing by, I believe, March 20th. So we're talking about in a couple of weeks. And I salute that. Again, Germany has not always been friendly to Tesla for obvious reasons, but this one I agree. And I have to say that I think a lot of people have been annoyed by this and wish that Tesla would present just a regular price, whatever it is, which are reasonable. I mean, if they don't change them every 30 seconds, but overall, and then present what kind of savings they can have, and then have a calculator where you can figure out yours. Because the bottom line is you can't figure out the savings because of so many different reasons. So let's dive in in a second. I will show you what savings they're proposing people should have and how that's not always true. But before that, of course, I want to remind you guys that this show and this channel is sponsored by Evanex, the aftermarket accessories for Tesla. There's a discount code in the description of this video. You can go ahead and grab it because prices there stay pretty much the same, but that discount code will lower it just by a little bit more. All right, so here's a breakdown of all the explanation of incentives and gas savings. The first one is the incentives, which is what you can expect to get it from the government, whether it's tax credits. See, I'm allergic to it already. Whether it's tax credits or incentives. Now, those change depending on where you live. And even if they kind of target you and tell you what it is, but they don't know what your income is. Maybe you haven't paid enough of taxes in that particular year to even get those that tax incentives back. Or your salary is too high, and like in California, especially in Silicon Valley, where $150,000 is really like below average almost. And yet, if you make more than that, you don't get the $2,500 incentive from California. Now then, of course, there's gas savings, and that is definitely up to discussion because, first of all, they kind of kept the gas savings the same, yet they've almost doubled their charging rates for the superchargers in the last couple of months. But also, you can't tell how much electricity is for different people. Some people, it's a zero, right? If they're getting it from solar panels. But then do you calculate the installation of and maintenance of solar panels? I don't know. I think you should. Then you don't know if you're getting, electricity from the most expensive provider like PG&E, or a third of that from utilities like in Santa Clara, California, where it's just city-owned utility company that's really, really cheap. So, all of this conversation has for saving, but what about the fact that most of us pay more in insurance because it's a Tesla and it takes way more money to fix than even a car in the same price range if it was a BMW, Mercedes, and so forth. And because of the delay in getting prices, like there are quite a few things that are just not calculated here correctly, and therefore I think if anything, Tesla should give potential buyers their own sort of way to calculate those savings, but also be fair and figure out the extra spending that they will have to do for insurance and buying a charger. If this is your first electric car, it does cost you about $1,000 to $2,000 to install that, so that's an expense that you have to get in order to get the savings. So therefore, it kind of has to be calculated. Let me know in the comment section, by the way, if you agree or disagree. But most importantly, what are the other ways and things that need to be calculated into this very short list? All right. Now, so as always with any story, there are positives and negatives. So let's dive into both. Now, the positives is always this. Listen, I'm always against the unfair practices in any way where you go in and you just don't see the real price that you're being paid. Like, for example, in this case, when you buy a $35,000 Model 3, which is, by the way, awesome that they now have it, but that's, after savings is still not the price that you're going to be paying. You still have to pay $35,000 and then try to get some of this money back as a rebate, right? So if anything, it should be presented as a rebate. So I think it's a positive thing that Tesla, at least in Germany, will have to display real price and maybe create a better way, like I suggested earlier, how people can calculate their own savings and how much money they're going to be getting back by owning an electric car. By the way, that's one of the best reasons to own electric cars because of all of the savings. So that shouldn't be a tough sell. Now, another positive, I think, is, hopefully other consumer protection agencies around the world, including in the United States, which, by the way, I'm not really sure how they didn't get a hold of this yet, will actually, ask Tesla to do the same. And again, Tesla will have to be a little bit more fair to presenting their prices and at the same time being able to be more helpful how they can present their savings to the user, how they can customize it. I think that's really the issue. Now, of course, negatives is the fact that we even have to be talking about it. And I mean, I don't know if it's going to damage Tesla sales. I don't think it will, because I think people who buy cars, they know how much money they ended up writing checks for or what their payments are going to be and so forth. So I don't think they're fooling anybody. But overall, I think just the fact, once again, it's a negative story that people are talking about out there, and especially in Germany, where it's a tough sell there to adopt a Tesla with BMWs and Mercedes and all the German cars that people are so loyal to. That's the last conversation we want to be having there, is that how Tesla is trying to do people or fool people into buying their cars. They shouldn't. The cars are just better than BMWs and Mercedes and so forth. So that should just be enough. So let me know. I'm kind of wondering, what do you guys think about the way Tesla presents prices? Do you think this is something that people should also change here in the United States or wherever you guys live? Or do you think it's perfectly okay for Tesla to do this and there's nothing wrong with it? Looking forward to that. Of course, I want to mention one of my newer Patreon, Augustus Hester. Thank you so much for becoming one of my Patreons. That's the only place where you can watch these videos live and a few other perks and more comment, by the way. But thank you to all my Patreons for supporting and contributing to me doing this independent show. If you want to become a part of my Patreon community, I would really appreciate it. Boom, right here, patreon.com/eForElectric. Don't worry, there's a link in the description of this video. So thank you so much for those who are going to do that today. All right, once again, looking forward to the comments. This is obviously a controversial topic, so I am definitely always enjoying watching those comments appear and a little arguments that everyone's having. Other than that, see you guys next time, and remember to stay charged.